performance bars, protein bars, energy bars, sports nutrition, and a million other names for them, but we all know of them. And for the people who sell them, they are a huge moneymaker. But what are they and what are they not? Expensive candy bars for grown-ups? High-tech nutrition? Scientifically formulated bioenhancing miracles of the modern age? Overpriced junk food? What do you use them for? Meal replacement? Energy to get you through an activity? Recovery? Nutritional insurance? Health augmentation? Harmless snacks? Emergency food? Lipstick on a pig? Something else? And let's be honest here. We love them. They're fun. They taste good. We love eating them, and we love believing in all the health claims. And I'm not here to burst that bubble. I'm just here to see what's really going on and, if possible, have a little fun along the way. So we're going to take a look at a few of them and see how they stack up. Now, to start, it bears mention that different uses have different requirements. And for now, I'm going to oversimplify that just a little bit. If you want something for energy during an activity, that is to say right now energy, you want simple carbs and lots of them. You might also benefit from some electrolytes depending on how much you sweat, but it's helpful to remember that electrolytes is just a sciencey sounding word for sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium, and you do not have to spend a lot of money to get those things. Now, I'm trying to keep this video simple, so I won't get too far into the weeds with that, but just be aware that you can pay a lot of money for a little envelope of things that are easy to find in regular old, food, like yogurt and bananas and potatoes. But for recovery, you should get a healthy dose of protein plus a balance of fat, complex carbs, and fiber. And if you're trying to put on muscle, then you need to eat that protein within a certain time window. Some say 1 to 2 hours, and others say you have up to 6 hours. So your mileage may vary. And if you're trying to really build profits, you need protein, plus fiber, antioxidants, electrolytes, and the familiar soup of nutritional buzzwords like vegan, gluten-free, humanely raised, good source of electrolytes, antioxidants, probiotic, prebiotic, postbiotic, bioavailable, and biodegradable, and all the rest. I've even seen one that proudly proclaims that each of their bars is individually blessed by an actual shaman. And plus any other health benefits you can fit on the label. But what does that label really mean? Well, the truth is, it can mean pretty much whatever they want it to mean, really. You see, back in the 90s, Congress passed some legislation called DSHEA. It stands for the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act. It was originally meant to clarify how supplement makers could promote their products without being overly encumbered by unnecessary burdens of proof and without restricting their freedom of speech. It was, at the time, seen as something that could support a growing market for supplements, natural health solutions, and traditional healing. And it did all of those things, tripling sales numbers within its first year while introducing the public to a whole new array of alternative health solutions, but not without some unintended consequences. You see, when those healthy sales numbers started rolling in, food companies took notice, and they were eager to get in on the action and cash in on the increases realized by supplement companies, and so they began making supplement-enhanced products, also known as nutraceuticals, which molecular biologist and nutritionist Marianne Nestle calls techno-foods, some of which might make more sense than others. But in short, supplement makers can print nearly any claim they want on their package without being required to prove its veracity. And food companies can do the same thing. So, for example, if something contains oats, they can put heart healthy on the box and it's legal. They don't even have to meet any requirements as to how much oats they put in the thing. They don't even shoulder the burden of truth in providing that oats are in fact heart healthy, or if an herb has been shown to reduce inflammation, they only have to include a tiny amount, and that's enough to make it okay to put a big burst on their package that says anti-inflammatory. They can include a small amount of fruit in their recipe and then claim it was made with real fruit, and that's fine, even if that tiny amount of fruit is sweetened with a huge load of refined sugar. And this kind of strategy has time and again resulted in increased sales. People just see that heart healthy graphic and say to themselves, it must be true or else they wouldn't be allowed to say that. But that's just not how it is. As soon as something is put into print, people tend to believe that it must be true, but I'm afraid that just ain't so. They can print almost anything they want. Thanks to DSHEA, supplement makers can claim practically anything they want without proof, and food makers in kind can add those supplements to their food and print health claims on their packaging and in their promotional material, and it's legal. They can say more fiber or more protein without answering the simple question of more than what. Because legally, that responsibility falls on you. I didn't make the rules. I'm just the messenger here. But the bottom line is that for better or worse, it's up to you, the consumer, to know what's real and what's nonsense. Producers can make junk food and call it anything they want, and the law protects their right to do so. So don't assume that they're looking out for your health. That's your job. It's up to you to decide if their ingredient is actually beneficial in the way they claim, and it's up to you again to decide if they're using enough of that ingredient to actually realize a health benefit. A quick way to say all of this is that the stuff printed on the front of the package is just marketing, and they can get away with a lot. What you really need to pay attention to is the ingredient list and nutrition information, which is usually on the back of the package. So, keeping that in mind, let's take a look at some of the products that are out there and see what they have to offer. As we're about to see, the makers of some of these performance bars have more integrity than others. I was pleased to find that a lot of the bars I looked at did not put deliberately misleading information on their labels, but I did find more than a few instances where the labels I read could really lead you to think things that weren't necessarily what you'd find by reading the ingredients list and using a little discernment. The word you see most often on the packages seems to be protein, but when you see that, ask yourself, how much protein? And what kind of protein are they selling me here? They can take a regular old candy bar, add some Frankenfood protein to it, and they can call it a protein bar without any legal requirements. The other buzzwords you're going to see most often in this video are gluten-free, non-GMO, vegan, low GI, but it's up to you to decide if those attributes actually add value. They can also just throw a few peanuts in there and make the same claim and even say more fiber. They can put some dried fruit in it and say great source of antioxidants, but there's absolutely no requirement for how much protein or how much fiber or how much antioxidant. And then there's my old favorite marketing term, all natural. But remember, the word natural has no legal meaning. Your phone and your computer and your car are all natural from a legal perspective. So again, it is up to you to make good decisions. And while I know that can be a bit much to digest, the ingredient list and nutrition information are a good place to start, and we're going to do a little bit of that today and decide for ourselves. To start, I looked at some regular old food options to get a kind of reference point for some comparisons, and I made this little chart. It's important to point out that these numbers are really rough. You can look up the same food and get a different result depending on how you word it. The biggest variance was our old friend bone broth. Some of the commercial stuff out there is nearly useless, while some searches worded differently made it out to be a miracle food. So because of that, the outrageous numbers I found for it are so far beyond anything else that I'm just not going to consider them. The best sources of protein tended to be cuts of animal flesh, such as chicken meat, steak, and salmon, etc. You also need to consider the serving size, so I did some quick math to figure out the grams of protein per calorie for these foods. Now this chart has them in order, and you can see the same foods up at the top, chicken, salmon, and steak, which is great, but those aren't exactly things you're going to throw in a day pack and take on a hike. So what I came up with for my baseline is that per serving, average protein is about 11 grams, super high protein is like 20s. High is in the teens, and 5 to 10 is fair, and anything below that is only mediocre. I did a similar thing for carbs and got similar numbers. Average is 14. Super high is above 20. High is in the teens. 5 to 10 is so-so, and below that is not a great source of carbohydrate. You might be a little amused to see Coke at the top of the list, but remember, soft drinks are absolute sugar bombs. If you're using a sugary drink to get you through a workout, then you can probably burn it off without spiking your insulin. The problem is that most people don't do that. Most people just sit back and relax and let it do its thing, which is a little hard on your health. You might have also noticed that I included a couple of my own recipes and concoctions in here, like the magic powder and nut butter that I've shown you in previous videos. I'm pleased to say that they did pretty well. The nut butter is especially impressive when you eat it with an apple, and I have to say that even after making this video, that's going to remain as my main recovery go-to because it has a great balance of protein, carbs, fats, and other nutrients. My super easy to make magic powder that I put in my smoothies is also going to remain as a go-to for me. Another great way to have it is to put a couple of tablespoons on some plain yogurt, which is just loaded with protein. So yeah, I'll put links in the description for those if you missed those very enlightening and entertaining videos and would like to go back and learn how to make them for yourself because they're so worth it and they're better than all of the bars put together. But that's enough self-promotion. Like I said, different applications have different demands. So to keep things simple, for recovery, I'm going to look for protein per serving in the teens to 20s. To match the protein in a serving of chicken, you just can't do that. It's not out there. If you want 30 grams of protein, you need a slab of chicken, or you need 2 or more bars, which is expensive, and the quality of the ingredients might be variable. For right now energy, the grams per serving are similar. Super high is above 20, so that's what I'm going to look for if I want some good right now energy when I'm on a bike ride or on the trail or whatever, or if that's what you're into. Another one of the surprises on this list was gummy candy, which is what I often take with me. It's cheap and is made from the same main ingredient as a lot of the commercial chews and goos and blocks and beans you can buy. Now, some of those are also dressed up with some caffeine and electrolytes, but those are pretty easy to come by without the price tag. But like I said, we love these things. They're fun. They taste good. They come in awesome flavors. They fit in a saddlebag or rolled up in your yoga mat. I'm not here to knock these things. So let's just see which ones are good choices. All right, so I've just got a bag of bars sitting here with me, and I'm going to look at them in no particular order. I'm not going to comment much on the taste, with a couple of exceptions, because they all taste good. Interestingly, they don't taste too good. I think that honestly, if these tasted really good for some of the brands, that would actually work against them. They don't want you to think of this as candy. I think that'll make more sense as we go along. This is from our old friends Pro. They've been around for quite a long time. This is their 20-gram protein bar. And when you look at the ingredients, you'll see that actually that's pretty good. It really is 20 grams of protein. There's 32 grams of carbohydrates. So this does really well in the protein and carbohydrate world. The ingredients are mostly pronounceable. These are mostly, I'm not going to read all the ingredients. I'll go crazy, but these are mostly things I can pronounce and I have some idea of what they are, although the protein is soy protein isolate. I'd rather just get chicken breast, but I think this one, I don't want to say that they pass or fail, but this one certainly is honest. You do get 20 grams of protein and you get 32 grams of carbs. So this one is going to be a good all-purpose bar. You're going to get a lot of everything in it. Another familiar one is the Pro Meal. These have been around for a very long time. This one has 10 grams of protein and 23 grams of carbohydrates. So it's 10 grams of protein. That's just so-so. But once again, these ingredients are things that my little tiny brain can understand. Now there is, cane sugar, but if you're going to burn it off, that's fine. Rice syrup and some interesting choices to pack the protein. But as a meal replacement, I've done it before. I've eaten these as a meal replacement. I think it's probably a lot of sugar for a meal replacement. But sometimes you're just desperate. And I wouldn't say that having this as a meal is healthy for you, but it's better than, I don't know, certain fast foods, I suppose. It's going to be more of a fuel bar than a good protein source, but for that, it's fine. And they taste, fine. This one is from Nature Valley, and it does say it's made with real fruit. Let's take a look at what's under the hood. You have only 2 grams of protein. It's pretty disappointing. Carbs, 23 grams, so you do get some carbs, but if you look at the ingredients list, it's pretty frankeny. There are a lot of things in there. And as far as the fruit, you see the dried blueberries sandwiched between corn syrup and sugar. So yeah, there's some fruit in there, but there's a lot of other things in there. I can't say this is good for much except for maybe dessert. So here we have Orgain protein with 10 grams of protein. It is organic, vegan, non-GMO, no soy or dairy. It's gluten-free. 10 grams of protein is not that impressive, actually. So I can't say it'd be a great recovery. As far as the carbs, you've got 19 grams of carbs. That's respectable. And the ingredients list, it's mostly things that I can pronounce and I know what they are. So I'll say it's good in that regard. There's a few things in there that I have no idea what they are, but it's not completely foreign. This is a Swaffle. It is organic and gluten-free. It's a gluten-free Stroopwafel filled with caramel. Now, as far as what you get out of it, nutrition-wise, you are only getting 1 gram of protein, but you are getting 23 grams of carbohydrates. If you look at the ingredients list, it's all fairly pronounceable, but make no mistake, this is candy. This is not a bad thing to eat if you just want some carbohydrates to keep you going. But don't fool yourself into thinking that this is a healthy recovery food. This is candy, and it'll be great if you just want some carbohydrates to get you through your activity. Here's another one from a Colorado company, Stinger. It's their Honey Energy Waffle. It is organic and non-GMO. There's 19 grams of carbs and only 1 gram of protein. So this is not a high protein bar. Similar to its cousin, the Stroopwafel, this is somewhere between candy and just trail energy. Actually, I think most of the stuff from Stinger brand, they have honey sticks and they have chews and that sort of thing. The whole point of their stuff is like quick energy while you are working. And I think it's great for that. And it's sweetened with honey. So, you know, if you are a honey advocate, which I mostly am, this is fine. Don't think about it as a protein source. It is absolutely not a protein source. But it's decent, honest ingredients. They taste amazing. And it'll give you a lot of carb to keep going. Now here we have a whole line of these One bars, and they're basically candies that are dressed up as protein bars. But I'll say that, yeah, there are 18 grams of protein, 3 grams of sugar, 25 grams of carbs. So, you know, it's going to get you some quick energy and give you some protein. If you look at this ingredient list, to me, there are a lot of weird frankeny ingredients like partially defatted peanuts and several things I can't even pronounce. I'm also a little disappointed because as an old Reese's peanut butter cup fan, I see this picture and I think I'm going to get something that looks like peanut butter cups, but it's a bar. That's what you actually get. And as you can see, I have sampled this already. It's not great as a candy. And I think that this whole category, I think this is a case where they're not making it taste too good. They want you to eat it and think it tastes healthy. So yeah, good source of protein, decent source of carbs. Are these healthy ingredients? I don't know. Make your own decision on that. Here's another one from that same line. This one just says it's Hershey's, and it has a picture of the Hershey's candy that it's modeled after. This is clearly supposed to be a Hershey's cookies and cream knockoff. It has 18 grams of protein, 3 grams of sugars, and you're talking about 25 grams of carbohydrate. I would say that it tastes good, but not too good. Again, I think they don't want it to be too much like candy. As far as the ingredients list, it could baffle a chemistry major. There are some really weird things in there, and I'm not here to comment as to whether that highly processed food is good for you or not, except to say that I'm inclined to think that it's not. As you can see, I have sampled it, and again, like the other one, they'll say it tastes good, but not too good. They don't want you to think that you're eating candy per se, and there's some maltitol and other artificial sweeteners, so they can keep the sugar load down to 3 grams. But at what cost? There's a point where I just think some good old sugar is probably healthier for me. And then the last one that I have in this line, from this one line, is not even pretending. It's birthday cake flavor, but it's got 20 grams of protein and 1 gram of sugar. So we're talking about 1 gram of sugar, but 25 grams of carbs. They managed to do that by, once again, giving us some ingredients that, wow, that just makes my head spin just looking at it. So, milk protein isolate, imaltolacglycerin whey isolate, and just things that you're not going to find in a grocery store. I haven't tasted this one. I'm willing to bet that, like its siblings, it probably tastes good, but not too good. It will give you 20 grams of protein, but at what cost? Another one that's clearly supposed to make you think it's candy is this Legendary. It looks like a birthday cake pastry, protein pastry with 20 grams of protein, 4 grams of carbs. So yeah, there's a lot of protein in there. And you do get 21 grams of carbs. And once again, I mean, if you just want a headache, read that. And there's some artificial sweeteners like sucralose and stuff that, what do we know about that? So many artificial colors that I can't even begin to describe it. So yeah, there's that. I did eat this one. It tastes good, but not too good. They don't want you to think it's candy. Here's another Legendary. Basically, let's face it, it's a Pop-Tart, but it doesn't taste that good because it's got 20 grams of protein and 4 grams of carbs. So this is intended to be mostly a protein source, not fuel for on the trail. I don't know, 22 grams of carbs. That's actually pretty decent, and 20 grams of protein with some very strange ingredients. And I haven't sampled this one yet, but I'm going to guess that, like the other one, it probably tastes good, but not too good. They don't want you to feel like you're eating candy, even though you are probably not eating something like, a slab of chicken or magic powder or nut butter. So there might be better choices as far as quality of ingredients, but yeah, you're going to get good protein. Well, you're going to get a lot of protein, I should say, and you're going to get a decent amount of carbohydrates to get you through the activity. I just don't know if this is the sort of thing I want to put in my body. Here's another one from Legendary. It looks like it's supposed to be like a cinnamon roll. I haven't tried this one yet. We got 20 grams of carbs. Now this one says 5 grams net carbs. You might remember on one of their other ones I got a little confused because the net carbs on the front of the package did not match what I found on the back of the package. And we're seeing 22 grams of carbs. That's pretty different from 5 grams net carbs. Now, I don't know what their math is there for net carbs, but that means it's probably some kind of weird science that I'd rather not play with. But it's an example of why the front can say one thing because it's net carbs, and then the back can say something completely else as far as what's in it. Yeah, what? I don't know. One of these days I'll have to really dig into that whole net carb thing. This one is gluten-free and keto-friendly. So you got 22 carbohydrates and 5 net carbohydrates. So are there negative carbohydrates in there? And if so, what the heck does that even mean? Again, I'm going to guess that it tastes good, but not too good, because they don't want you to feel like you really are eating a cinnamon roll. They want you to feel like you're eating something that is cinnamon roll adjacent, but somehow good for you because it's got 20 grams of Franken protein. Well, let's move right along to good old Cliff Bar. The Cliff Bar has been around for a long time, and there are reasons for that. They're really good. And when you look at the ingredients list and the nutrition information, there's only 10 grams of protein in there. That's not particularly impressive. I mean, it's so-so, it's okay, but 43 grams of carbohydrate, that's enough fuel to get you through a 14er or two. And when you look at the ingredients list, for the most part, that's pretty believable and understandable stuff. The soy protein isolate is just something I think we have to live with. But it's a pretty short ingredient list, and it's pretty real. And these taste good. They've been around for a really long time. As you can see, I sampled this one. But I think Cliff Bar is going to be around for a really long time. I think this is going to always be one of my staples. Here's another one from Cliff, which, as you can see, I sampled. I did like it. 20 grams of protein, which is good because they're calling this a builder's bar. So 20 grams of protein, that's actually quite formidable. The carbs are 30 grams, which is also very high. So this is going to keep you fueled up and help you build some muscle. The ingredients list is it's okay. I mean, these are mostly pronounceable things. And it was a decent little bar. I would buy this one again. Cliff is just a good company. Here's a fairly new offering from Dave's, the same people who bring you Dave's bread. It is an amped up organic protein bar, but 10 grams of protein, not really that impressive. Blueberry almond butter, as far as the carbs go, is 25 grams, so it's okay. And the ingredients list is it's a little weird. I don't know. So 10 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs, and interesting ingredient list. So yeah, there's that. Aloha has been flooding my local natural food store. It's fairly new in my part of the country. It's organic, non-GMO. They're a B Corp, which is pretty impressive, actually. So we've got organic, gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, plant-based. 14 grams of protein, that's not exactly stellar. 26 grams of carbohydrates, so that's decent fuel. And an ingredients list that's a little sciencey, but for the most part, these are good, honest ingredients, even though there are a lot of them. This is going to be one of the few times I comment on the flavor. I did not like this. Now, I haven't tried any of their other flavors, but this blueberry one did not blow my skirt up. Here's one that I haven't sampled. It's Mezcla Peanut Choco Latte. So apparently they're trying to make you feel like this is something from Mesoamerica. There's a certain demographic they're trying to appeal to here. You got 10 grams of protein, which is pretty mediocre. It's, 10 grams. It's nothing to write home about. Our carbohydrate load is 19 grams. The ingredient list, these are mostly things that probably do not occur in the wild in Mesoamerica. That's a pretty sciencey looking list. So, like I said, I haven't tried this one. It's so-so as far as what it delivers to you. I don't know. I think this is mostly marketing. This is Gopal's Raw Alchemy Enzyme-Rich Brownie. It is raw, organic, gluten-free, and vegan. It's USDA organic and non-GMO and more. It's certified, one of these certifications, which some of them mean a lot, and then some of them mean that they just paid a fee to use that logo. This one, I don't know, it's another one where I'm going to comment. I took a bite out of it, and I thought it was kind of, The ingredients are really hard to read, but I'll just tell you, you're not missing much. 7 grams of protein, 22 grams of carbs, so you're going to get some carbs, and there are probably some fairly real ingredients here. This is one of the few times that I'm going to say I just didn't like it. And another one that I'm sorry to say I just didn't like is from Bob's Red Mill. It is their peanut butter chocolate and oats Bob's bar. It's too bad because they're a good company and I really like a lot of the stuff they make, but this just didn't taste good. As far as what's in it, as you can see, we've got 28 grams of carbohydrates and 6 grams of protein. So not a recovery food. It's decent for fuel. The ingredients are all very honest. I just didn't really like eating it. Here's another one that I obviously sampled, as you can see. This is the Think High Protein. It's 20 grams of protein, 23 grams of carbs, and an ingredients list that isn't too obnoxious. So I think highly of Think. Not that I'm, really rating these. As I said before, I'm trying to not rate them. I know I've slipped up a couple of times, but this one is definitely on my good list. The RX bar has been on my happy list for a long time. This is one of my standbys because of the very short ingredient list. It's 12 grams of protein, which is not, anything to write home about, but it's got a great ingredient list. They taste pretty good, and we're talking 24 grams of carbohydrates. So this is another one that I would recommend for during exercise or activity. Not great for recovery. I mean, it's okay, 12 grams, so, but I wouldn't use this for like bodybuilding. This Go Macro gets kind of a mixed reaction from me. It tasted pretty good. It is organic and vegan and gluten-free for what that's worth. It's certified clean. I don't know who certified that, so that doesn't mean a whole lot to me. The ingredients list is, it's not impressive for its honesty, but there's mostly pronounceable real ingredients in there. Only 9 grams of protein, but 39 grams of carbs. So this is an energy beast. So this is definitely something that's going to get you through a pretty hard activity. But with 9 grams of protein, this is not going to help you build a lot of new muscle or anything like that. But it tasted good. I liked it. Kate's Real Food has a lot of accolades from these third-party certifiers. It's a pretty short and honest ingredient list, but as far as the carbs and protein in here, it's not really that impressive. It's 4 little grams of protein, 18 grams of carbs. Short and honest ingredient list. It's healthy enough. I like them okay. It's not that substantial. So, they get an A for being healthy and honest, but I don't know. I'm not going to look to this for a big shot of protein or carbs. Here's another one that I sampled. This is a Kind protein bar. Kind has been around. They started out as a very altruistic company. They wanted to provide real ingredient food to people in a way that was accessible, and I think they did a good job. This is their protein bar, but the numbers aren't really that impressive. We've got 12 grams of protein and 17 grams of carbs. Obviously, I thought it was pretty good because I sampled the entire bar, but by the numbers, I don't know. I can't say that this is super impressive. The ingredients are very honest. And it was tasty. Nuts and fruits, and you're going to enjoy a Kind bar, but I can't say that the numbers on this are anything to write home about. Now here's the original Kind bar. I like their story. They were founded on a mission of bringing actual kindness to the world through their food. They wanted to bring food into the snack space that had honest ingredients. And I think they did a pretty good job of that with this. As far as protein, it's 4 grams of protein. That's not that great, but 22 grams of carbs. So you could use this to give you fuel through a moderate activity, or maybe a yoga session. If you want more protein, they do have the Kind protein, but it only has 12 grams of protein, which is still not that impressive. So I have to say, by the numbers, there are probably better alternatives out there, but I think Kind is a very good company, and I really admire them. And there you have it, all you need to know about bars, or at least what to look for in a bar. I hope this was interesting and informative for you, and for now, it is time to wrap up this video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Ciao.